Just when you thought we'd been cancelled, never fear, my geeky brethren, we live to game another day.
Yes, regardless of your chosen tool of the gaming trade, as usual, this week's show is jam-packed with gregarious gaming goodness. I see you're trying to trip me up as usual there, Jim.
Oh, I'm sorry, Greg. I'm amispeptic, phrasmotic, even compunctious to have caused you such pericombobulation.
Git.
Coming up on this week's show.
Oh, where are we going now? I don't know, Greg. So we go that way.
I love going to a music festival and then just jumping in my supercar and having a cruise around.
News! Whatever happens in life, you can be assured that following the opening of the show is the news section. So,
yes,
what's going on in the world of news?
What's going on in the world of gaming news this week, folks? Well, 2 hackers have pleaded guilty and another 2 have been charged for participating in an elaborate international scheme to build a counterfeit Xbox One, Greg.
Well, that's quite optimistic.
Quite dastardly. Yes.
Well, I personally think that they've aimed quite high there. If they'd gone for a Mega Drive or a NES, they could have probably done it with toilet rolls and sticky back plastic.
Oh, harsh.
But not untrue.
Maybe, well, half true, yes. Let's go with half true, shall we? October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and video game publisher Bandai Namco is getting involved. It has teamed up with the National Breast Cancer Foundation to launch a Ms. Pac-Man Pink Ribbon campaign to help in the fight against breast cancer. I think that's a wonderful campaign.
I think so, using such an iconic character for good
yes,
like that.
Absolutely.
Are we going to have a pink Pank woman then, Miss Pac-Man?
Indeed, the Ms. Pac, and she's wearing pink, and they've launched a new maze, which we'll show a screenshot of now, which uses the word hope across it, and I think it's a lovely thing to do. So we're fully supportive of that.
I think that's beautiful. I have nothing quite as touching as that, but we have some expansions coming out for big popular games. Fantasy Flight are doing a Gates of Arkham expansion for Elder Sign. Nothing to do with the Batman series.
Oh.
It's for Elder Sign, a Cthulhu-based HP Lovecraftian tentacly rapey nastiness, that sort of thing.
You keep that to yourself.
Indeed. It looks fantastic, but I personally think that if you're going to go for one Cthulhu-based game, then it's got to be Eldritch Horror. We've also got an expansion in the world of Mountains of Madness.
Ooh, I see.
It
sounds like my mind. Windows 10 has just been announced. I must have missed Windows 9, Greg.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they've skipped one.
Yes,
there.
I think they have skipped one. It's going to be the most comprehensive platform ever, according to Microsoft. There's no word yet on whether the Xbox One will be updated to Windows 10, but I guess we'll see in the future. No real gaming announcements, but there'll probably be a new version of DirectX that comes along with it.
I think they're trying to get rid of the whole sort of tab screen once and for all. They're going back to sort of old-fashioned desktops, which I think is good.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's good.
There's 2 new expansions for the Bang card game. There's Dodge City and High Noon and Fistful of Cards. A good fun game, a quick little game you can play, people. I don't know if it's slightly been eclipsed by the Bang dice game, though. So are people still interested in the card game over the dice game? I don't know.
I'll let you be the judge of that,
But
Greg.
they are there nonetheless.
Indeed. Chris Jones from Victoria, Australia, has created a superly scary, realistic face tech simulation designed to prove the computer graphics have come way, way too far in recent years. So we saw a shot of this here. It's pretty realistic, although the mouth's not quite right.
They never quite get the mouths right, so...
Yeah. And we'll quickly run down the new releases for this week. Alien Isolation, Drive Club, NBA 2K15, Borderlands the pre-sequel, F1 2014, and Evolve. So there's a heck of a lot of good games coming out this week, Greg. It's a really good time this time of year, isn't it?
Review! Ah, the beautiful game. The world's most popular sport. Amphitheatre to fulfilled or shattered dreams, the epitome of colonial cultural exchange in action. In essence, Britain's greatest export. Right, enough of the imperial tear-jerking. What is it about EA's FIFA series that corrals throngs of salivating footy jocks into purchasing a new version every year? Well, aside from the obvious want for the latest version of your favourite team, for several years now, FIFA has staked its place as most enjoyable football simulation, comfortably besting the once dominant Pro Evolution Soccer series from Konami, with its high-pace, easy-to-play, slightly automated style, solid online modes, and comprehensive league and team licensing deals. What is immediately obvious as you start your first match is that extra 12 months of maturity the new version has benefited from. But more about gameplay in a minute. First, let's run down the tweaked features. According to Wikipedia, this year's Ultimate Team has a new feature in which users can sign lone players for a limited duration of matches, making it a lot easier to level up your team in the early going, it would seem. For me, this somewhat defeats the point of growing a new team, as it's hard to believe Lionel Messi would come and play for Slag End FC or some other such fledgling club. But whatever, it's a game, right? The career mode is basically the same, but for some tweaked menus that lay everything out with big, easy-to-read boxes for a more visually pleasing feel. The immersive element here is still impressive, but can on occasion be bizarrely wide of the mark. For example, I had a player start whinging about wanting to be sold because I never play him, even though he'd featured in my last 4 matches on the trot. Ugh, prima donnas. If you play with a camera peripheral such as Kinect, you'll find a bunch of useful shortcuts to change tactics, make substitutions, and alter formations on the fly. At least that's the idea anyway. Personally, I found the resulting overlays distracting, and often not wanted at all. True to form, Kinect picked up on idle conversation and interpreted it as me wanting to sub my goalkeeper for a midfielder. Are you mad, Xbox? Still, the silliest feature has to be the referee hearing mode, which allows your camera to pick up foul language, or in my case just loud random banter, and translate that into an in-game punishment. Starting with the commentators commenting on your bad behaviour during a match, and culminating in first an aggressive warning, and finally an actual sacking from the board of the club you manage. In the carefully chosen words of the great Sir Alex Ferguson, that's f***ing bullshit, you f***ing f***wit southern pansy box bags! Moving on from the graphic to graphics, the visuals are basically the same as last year, with some more realistic physics introduced, such as the goalposts and corner flags moving when they're struck, pitch surfaces wearing, and player kits becoming dirtier as the game goes on. Aside from all these minor improvements, what's really worth talking about here is the gameplay itself. Change of direction has to be the biggest improvement, with the ability to dodge defenders while making runs towards the box the most satisfying implementation of it. The same is true at low speed too, making skillful flicks and turns to hold up possession substantially easier and more satisfying than last year. Muscling players off the ball is far more extreme too, leading to some wildly over-the-top animations of sprites toppling over each other in quite comedic ways. Astonishingly, referees hardly seem to notice these acrobatic feats, preferring to award cards for minor trips and stumbles instead. Then there's the goalkeepers. Having not had much love in the way of significant improvements in recent FIFAs, the Guardians of the Goal have had a complete overhaul in the form of a brand new set of improved animations and upgraded intelligence. One-on-ones are a mixed bag, with keepers sometimes making amazing last-gasp saves with an outstretched limb, to diving in the wrong direction or even just watching the ball into the net. There's clearly more work to be done here. So what do all of these elements add up to when it comes to a football game? Well, in 2014 it's hard to find a better soccer simulation, or sports game in general for that matter. The real question is, if you bought FIFA 14 last year, is it worth getting your hands on this latest addition to the series? Well, that all depends on how big a football fan you are. I suspect for most avid fans, FIFA was always going to be and will remain a must-have purchase. But for those more casual observers like me, the decision is less clear. At first glance, the game seems virtually the same as last year's, but on closer inspection, its myriad subtle improvements make it not only the best version of FIFA to date, but an experience that feels ever closer, in a slightly exaggerated way, to the beautiful game, with the resulting longevity and satisfaction stemming from its more nuanced, flowing, and ever more intuitive gameplay. With that in mind, I would highly recommend it to anyone. The irony is, this game makes FIFA 16 seem a far less likely casual purchase.
So, FIFA 15, you don't have to sell me on the FIFA series, I'm quite the fan, but more importantly, what do you think of it, and what star rating have you given it?
Well, I have the distinct pleasure of rating it this year, Greg, so let's find out, shall we?
Have a look.
All-Star!
4 stars
4 star.
there.
That's a very, very good game.
That's a good game indeed. But what in the way of longevity? Is it going to get a bit boring? Is it too easy to do? So you let us know.
Let's have a look at the boardometer. Sulphur.
So why sulphur, Jim?
Well, the difficulty levels are, there's a bit too much of a gap between them, in my opinion, so that adds to the boredom threshold a bit. But still a very good score, though.
A very good score indeed. So there you go. FIFA 15, very good.
After the break.
We are in the very groinal area between the two console giants here.
This past weekend, Jim and I had the distinct pleasure of attending the UK's biggest gaming expo, EGX, which took place at Earl's Court Convention Centre in London.
Indeed, and what a show it was, with virtually every major games publisher you can think of showing off sneak peeks of some of the most exciting games to come in the weeks and months ahead.
As is now tradition, Jim and I packed our bags, shipped in our crew, and did our best to give you a flavour of one of the best gaming events of the year.
Check it out!
EGX is the UK's largest gaming show. We've got 80,000 people here over 4 days coming to play all the big games for this Christmas and beyond and share their passion for video games. I think EGX is really important to have a kind of focal point both for gamers and for the industry. For gamers it's a chance to meet up with friends, try out new games, and just generally, kind of celebrate their, passion for games. And for the industry, it's a chance to put their games in front of 80,000, avid fans and get their feedback as well. So we've got hundreds of games here at the show from all around the world, and we've got some homegrown games as well. So we've got Alien Isolation from Creative Assembly, we've got Little Big Planet 3 from Media Molecule, and a whole bunch of other kind of UK-based games as well.
Well, not once to miss out on an easy opportunity to attend a games conference. Greg, we're here at EGX.
We
in
are
London.
at EGX at Earl's Court in London, and wow, it's craziness.
It is absolutely crazy. There's a man commentating on some really big esports behind us.
Yes, there's something strange going on with 8-bit characters.
Indeed, and there are assassins quite literally above us looking to kill us, I'm quite sure.
I feel dwarfed by assassins at the moment. So,
Yes.
so what are we going to do? We're going to have a quick look around. We're going
That's
to...
right. We wanted just to give you an idea of what it's like, so we thought we'd have a wander around and see what we find.
So let's go that way.
Let's go that way.
So we're at the Nintendo store, the
That's
Nintendo
right.
stand, the Nintendo store.
The most colourful stand, I think.
It certainly is.
Fine.
And you can see in the background we have some sort of Super Smash Brothers thing going on. And I'd like to point out that Mario and Luigi have spent many a game struggling to find the princess. She's there!
She's
I
there on
found
the
the
stage.
princess!
She's canoodling with lots of other men, so I'm not quite sure.
Personally, I think Mario and Luigi have just been, dragging their feet. I found her straight away. So yes, so celebrating Super Smash Brothers, which is now out on the Nintendo 3DS.
That's right, yeah, it's their brand new release, and there's a load of merchandise here that's celebrating
Loads of
it.
merchandise. I can see a Zelda
yes,
and all
Nintendo
sorts
making
of
the
other
most of it
things.
here at EGX. But 3DS game, we're looking forward to playing that, but hopefully we'll get to play the Wii U version of Super Smash Bros. As well when that comes out soon.
Indeed.
So
So that's Nintendo. Where are we going now?
I don't know, Greg.
I say we go that way.
That way! Well, this seems like a horrible place to be, Greg. We are caught in the nether region between Sony and Microsoft.
The Nether region, no less.
The Nether region.
We are in the very groinal area between the two console giants
It's
here.
the worst place to be. It's this black abyss that we don't know which way to turn. We've got Sony and they're showing off Bloodborne and Destiny, and then we've got Microsoft back here showing off things like Sunset Overdrive and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I don't know which way to turn as a gamer.
Which way to turn? We are literally in the very heart, the eye of the storm.
We are in the eye of the storm.
Of EGX here. Wow, it's quite exciting.
It is exciting.
I have no idea where to go now.
This is the good thing about being a gamer. We do not have to pick sides. This is not football.
We are firmly in the middle area.
We are in the middle.
We are in the middle area.
And we like both, don't we?
We
like
do.
both.
We very much
like
so.
both. We're going to try out both. So which should we go to first?
Where
though?
next? I don't know.
That way.
That way.
So the great thing is here at EGX, you want your sugar hit. You know, you really sort of on the fast pace, and you sort of try and see everything really quickly. You can come to the sweet stand here. You can and you can pay with bitcoins. You don't even need like old money, like Lord of the Rings money, whatever people use these days. You can use bitcoin.
Okay, so it's not just video games here. We also have some board games. Not many, admittedly.
Well, there's a few tables.
There's a few
nice
tables,
games,
but
yeah.
it's one company as Deviant that's representing, and we have quite a few different games you can come in and just sit down and start playing. So
It's really friendly, isn't it? And I like the benches, actually. They're very groovy.
I want
So-
benches like that. I like the pop arty type cushions there. That's pretty
It's a totally
funky.
different experience, Greg, really, because unlike some of the computer games, you have to queue up for 3 hours just to see something in a secret booth. Here, it's all open, you know, very
It's
friendly.
great.
And you just
I like the fact that you can sit down. That's
Yes,
quite nice
that
in
does
conventions
help.
like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, you can sit down, you can play games, and it's all good. So we might have to have a go on something
Absolutely.
later.
We're very happy about this.
But in the meantime, we're first on our ongoing quest to discover all of EGX in one go.
No, that way.
This way?
That way.
That way!
So, Greg, we are here in the naughty section.
The naughty section.
The over 18s section at EGX.
I'm generally quite excited. I feel like I've been let into some sort of behind-the-scenes thing.
I know, it's amazing.
It can be
isn't it?
naughty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this is the over 18s, and I think it's because things are a little bit more graphic
Yes,
in many
very
ways.
graphic. We've seen some very graphic, but very beautiful looking games. it has
Very
to be
beautiful. I'm
said.
very excited about some of these.
Yes.
There's of course, as you can see directly above us, The Evil Within.
The Evil
one of
Within.
the big and very scary looking releases coming out very soon.
Yes, amazing trailers and amazing looking game this really is, and we're looking forward to playing it. But there are other big games here, sort of gory games. We've got Dying Light, we've got Sleeping Dogs, Shadows of Mordor.
Shadows over Mordor's
The new
looking
Lord of the Rings
amazing.
game
We're looking
looks
very much
amazing.
forward to that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so we're going to have a quick look around the over 18
The naughty section.
and so which way should we go? That way.
That way.
What? Well, that's exhausting.
That was our run around.
Now, what
EGX.
seemed like exceedingly quick for you was actually quite a bit longer for us having a quick look around EGX.
You know what? We weren't able to show everything, quite frankly,
we
were we?
really won. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
As you can hear at the moment, there's even a Mario Kart tournament
Even
going
as there
on,
was before.
which we're fighting to be heard over. But wow, fantastic.
What a great exhibition of games. We even saw some board games, not just video games here. There's a special 18 section, all the gory games upstairs, lots of family games, presents from merchandise. There's a bit of everything here, and it's a good fun place to come. Plenty of space to move around, a bit easier than Comic-Con, I think, as well, Greg.
Crazy, but an awful lot of fun. So
Yeah.
That's EGX in a nutshell. That's
In a
the
nutshell.
fast forward version, and there'll be lots of things coming up from it in the very near future.
Well, that was EGX, or Greg, some of EGX. It's pretty difficult to sum up such a large games convention in just a short segment like that, but we did our best.
I think we did all right. We had to rush around it, as you say. It's huge, and if you spent a whole of the weekend there, you'd still struggle to take it all in. But what is interesting is it does look like we were sped up on that VT there, but no, that was the speed we had to walk in order to get round it.
Yes, it was rather a Benny Hill moment, that running around EGX trying to cover everything. But from a gamer's point of view, it's a really good convention to go to, because not only do you get to see a lot of stands from the big game publishers showing off their latest games, but you get to play a lot of these games. They've got fantastic little dedicated booths, and you get a good decent amount of time for most of them as well, about 20 minutes.
This is it. There's some fantastically big releases coming out, and people get to play some of these, like the Evil Within, and Alien Isolation, which we've got coming up in a segment very soon, and yeah, loads of things like that. There's so many I couldn't even begin to name them all.
You know what? Because we were filming, we didn't get the best experience really, because as a fan, you can see this, you can see that. We only got to literally play a couple of games and then do some interviews, but to be honest, we would have had to have been there, like you say, for at least 2 or 3 days to do it justice, which is kind of a good thing in a way. But we had a good time playing The Evil Within and Alien Isolation, and with the surround sound headsets on and a big screen you're in front of, it was quite an interesting experience, and quite a scary one too.
Terrifying, as you'll see in some of our video packages. We are genuinely shaking and jumping with fear.
Indeed we are. So if you're on the fence about going to a games convention, you're thinking, well, is it worth it? You know, am I going to get to do anything? There's so much to see. There's so many different games to try and play. The queues aren't that bad either, so especially on a Sunday. So I'd highly recommend EGX to anybody.
Indeed. Check it out. EGX going to be in London next year.
Still to come.
Jim has decided to enter what is known as chaff mode.
We're quite punishing with the game. I mean, we're not friendly.
Challenge.
So, Forza Horizon 2, it's a very much anticipated game, and we've been lucky enough to be given a copy to have a bit of a go at, and Jim's very much doing that now, as you can tell by the goofy, like,
I'm doing donuts! Look at that! Way!
Jim has decided to enter what is known as chaff mode. Just a disclaimer, chaff mode does not exist on this game.
Fortunately.
No, you are not a chaff. You are, in fact, people who own supercars and attend festivals.
I don't know, man. I love going to a music festival and then just jumping in my supercar and having to cruise around.
It is a very, very strange and screwed up Venn diagram when you can afford to have a supercar but want to be all crusty and hippie-like and go, let's go to a festival, man. We are going to be challenging Jim to in a race where he has to take on the Italian display team. So this is an aerial display team who are basically going to be
they're in
racing
fighter
him.
jets.
Fighter jets, yes.
Which are very fast indeed.
And there you go, that's the statement of the day. Fighter jets, very fast indeed.
That's a technical term. Very fast indeed.
So yes, he's going to be giving them a race, obviously not in a straight line. Ferrari or not, I think he'd lose that one. But instead, they're going to be going backwards and forwards through the checkpoints. Obviously, they've got a wider turning arc, but they are going to be quite fast. So we're going to see how this goes.
This is a very exciting challenge, and I've done it a couple of times, and it's always incredibly close. So let's
go for it.
I'm scared.
And there they go with their beautiful Italian sort of colours there in the smoke plumes behind them.
Yes, okay, we've got all our settings ready, and yeah, we're ready to go.
I think Jim would want me to tell you that he is doing this on the highest difficulty level.
Oh yes, the highest difficulty level.
Not an amateur like me. He's a gaming pro, and he'll be taking on it in the highest difficulty level. Admittedly,
don't tell anyone I've got the driver aids on.
Okay, I'm not to tell you he has all the driver aids on to help him a little bit. Oh, sorry. Is that a secret? So you ready?
People.
And he's revving his engines, and he's off. Go! And straight away, he's taking the first corner, and there should be some jets going over him any second now. Look at them go!
Oh my God!
They look like they're going to win the race there. Look at that. They're way past you. But they do have to go backwards and forwards. As you can see, the checkpoints in this are represented by plumes of smoke, little red plumes of smoke, which is quite nice. I like that as a touch.
It's a nice graphical touch. I mean, the whole game is beautiful to look at.
It is stunning, and the ability in some of the races to go off road and things like that are very, very good indeed. So you're making good speed. You're hitting over 100 miles an hour as you go around the corner.
Good for me.
Hitting the checkpoints there, slightly behind them, but I think they're going to be ahead. I think that's not necessarily.
Well, that's nice, Greg. Thank you for the support.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think you can tell where you are in position in comparison to fighter jets. It's
All right, fair enough. Laws
They
of
are
physics
now
and all that.
officially behind you because they've just gone the other way.
That's true.
I suggest you keep going in this direction, though. I think that's the best way.
Thanks, Greg. The wise sat nav here telling me.
I'm basically your navigator sitting next to you going, yeah, go straight. Go a bit further that way.
Yep.
Go faster than their
Nothing
jets.
much. Carry on.
No, you're doing well. You're hitting close to 100 as you go through the tunnel that looks very similar to the other tunnel you
I'm
went through.
pretty sure that health and safety doesn't allow races to happen like this through town.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know, in Le Mans, sometimes they just drive around the whole city, don't they? It's beautiful setting. It's very well rendered there. Didn't want that lamppost. It was in the way.
That's right. I decided that was not required.
That's pretty much how I drive in real life. If I see something in the way, pedestrian, child, that sort of thing.
No, you'll be in court next week.
So you're doing well. There's another checkpoint there. You're clearing through, and they're now officially going the other way. It's very hard to tell how well you're doing. I can tell you're sticking to the racing lines. You're managing to miss hitting most things. Apart from that lamppost.
Apart from that, don't say that. Every time you say that, it goes wrong.
Watch out for the rock! No, you're doing well. You're doing well. I think you're doing well anyway. You're doing better than I would have done.
Basically, we're saying it's hard to know.
It's very hard to know. I hit everything. I'm good at Mario Kart.
Oh, we got the finish line!
Oh, you beat them!
Yes!
You won!
Yes!
Fantastic! How much by? That was close.
0.3 of a second.
0.3 of a second. Not one to do it, with too big a margin there. 0.3 of a second.
Well, I like to keep it interesting, Greg.
That was great. I enjoyed that. That was quite exciting. Yes. Smug Jim there.
Well, we've just come out of playing a go at Alien Isolation, and to say that it is terrifying and genuinely an isolating experience is to undersell it. So I'm here today with Nee, the community manager for Alien Isolation, who's going to tell us a little bit about the game, and oh, what an experience.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Suitably frightened? Suitably scared?
I'd say so.
Excellent.
You feel like you're being hunted.
Absolutely.
I think the word isolation is very much apt in this case.
Absolutely.
We played survival mode, didn't we? Which is not going to be one of the story modes, but something that is a separate thing. And, and we were just being hunted basically by an alien in a very small map area. You've had all sorts of reactions, I gather, from people. People have been scared and shaking and falling off chairs.
Yes, they have. Yeah, we've had one chair smashed the other day. Some poor fellow was so scared he fell over backwards and smashed our chair, which for us was great. Not so great for the chair, but brilliant for us. And that's always great to see, is people responding exactly the way that we want them to respond, which is feeling that isolation, feeling that fear, getting those jump scares, and feeling that claustrophobic sense of you're being hunted and you're being preyed upon by this impossibly monstrous, frightening creature.
So you seem to have all the elements from the franchise in there, with the motion tracker and how it works, and obviously the flamethrower. You've obviously been very, very true to the franchise. Does this fit in the canon somewhere, or is it just a separate story when we actually get to the story mode?
Well, it's our interpretation, really, of Amanda's story. So when we sat down to start working on it, we've been working on this game now, I should say, for over 4 years. So we've been flying low under the radar, working really hard to perfect the game. I mean, we're obsessed with the first film, which is Ridley Scott's original Alien, and we've been obsessed with it for so long. And when we sat down to look at the kind of game that we wanted to create, we were like, right, okay, we love Alien, we love that lo-fi 70s technology, that really grungy, push-button, chunky mechanics that the whole entire Nostromo is based on. But at the same time, we love the survival horror, we love the tension, the atmosphere. And we really wanted to create a game that was very true and faithful to that. But at the same time, we were also like, no one's explored the story of Amanda. No one's looked at what happened to her when Ellen disappeared. So we set the game 15 years after the original events of Ellen's story on the Nostromo. It follows the story of Amanda Ripley, who's obviously grown up, doesn't know much about her mother or what happened to her. She's approached by Weyland-Yutani representatives to say, look, we found the black box from the Nostromo. It's out on this station on the far fringes of space. Do you want to come with us and find out what happened to your mother? Naturally, she says yes. And then she turns up to discover that the station is in disarray. There's desperate survivors, and something is out there in the dark, hunting people, killing people, and it's a frightening place to be.
Well, it certainly has more in common with Alien rather than, later in the franchise. Aliens became very sort of gung-ho and sort of, almost actioner. It is tense. The
the experience is quite truly terrifying. Would you say you have the scariest product here at EGX this time round, do you reckon?
I think we certainly have the scariest Alien product. I mean, we are so different to all of the previous Alien games that have come along in the past. We're survival horror, we're first person, single player, very story mode driven. We're isolating you pretty much throughout the entire game. I mean, Amanda will encounter other characters and she'll interact with them and sort of like, you know, they'll be part of her story, but really you're on your own. You're completely underpowered, you're completely underprepared. You're not armed to the teeth. You won't have grenades and, you know, plasma guns that you're going to be able to like blitz the enemies away with. You've got to really strategize. You've got to really gather together whatever you can find on the ship, build devices that you can then basically use to outmaneuver the alien. So it's definitely survival horror. It's definitely frightening. I mean, I'm personally terrified of it, and I've been playing it for over a year and a half. You know, it's frightening.
So is this a game that's going to be best played at home, in your living room, in the dark,
yes.
with the volume up
So
or headphones?
We're recommending at home like a cinema experience, really. Get the popcorn, obviously try not to throw it at whoever is sitting next to you. Try not to eat it perhaps whilst you're playing, but definitely lights off, you know, put on the surround, put on your headphones, really feel the experience. And I know that sometimes we're quite punishing with the game. I mean, we're not friendly in terms of making it the easiest game possible to play. It is challenging, it's you know, pretty intense. So also play it hard. I mean, whenever we sort of like bring the game out to the public, we always by default put it on hard setting. I know that's possibly a bit mean sometimes.
Don't be wussy. Don't play the easiest setting.
You know, man up
immediately
and play it on like hard level, and then obviously, you know, give that a go, because we are trying to mimic that first experience of what it's like to be in an alien film, in that first alien atmosphere. So yeah, give it a go.
I'm Samuels. I work for the company. It's about your mother. We think we may have found her, Amanda. We get to shut the book. Ripley.
Coming up! We'll all face off on the stage at Play Expo, and we'll crown the UK's first ever classic gaming champion.
Studio guest.
Okay, I'm here chatting to Gordon from Replay Events, and this is a very special place as far as I'm concerned at EGX, because this is a mecca, and this is an absolute mecca to classic game systems. We've got Sega Mega Drives, SNESes, Nintendos, we've got TurboGrafx, we've got virtually every kind of retro system you could imagine, including all kinds of arcade things, old virtual reality headsets. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and pleasure to meet you, and please tell us a little bit about this setup you have and how you were inspired to put it together.
Okay, well, our business, Replay Events, we started out as just collectors of old games kit. Sure. We started putting on small shows in the back of pubs, and we realised how popular they were, and they started to get bigger and bigger, and they finally got to the point where we thought, you know, we could actually give up our jobs and do this for a living. And we're lucky enough to have been able to do that, and now we take this kind of show around all different events around the UK. We've even had one booking in Singapore, which was an amazing experience. So yeah, it's just a great feeling to be able to go out and bring these kind of machines to people all over the country.
Well, so I'm guessing that at heart you're a real gamer yourself. Then what did you grow up playing?
I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore gamer, because I'm not good at any games, but I grew up with the ZX
You've got to be good at
Spectrum.
something, sure.
Oh, I grew up with the ZX Spectrum, so
Yeah.
you know the early 8-bit computers are
Sure.
really where my heart lies.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have we got any Spectrums here on show?
Yeah, there is a ZX Spectrum. There's the Plus 3 model over there. We're actually running it with a memory card so that you don't have to go through tape or disc loading,
Right.
and there can be a number of games on there. So there's a really good selection. You should check it out.
Okay, and so I'm guessing most consoles are completely original, so you say you've done something there to make the life a bit easier. Have you had to do that with any other systems in particular?
That is just with the old computers like these Amigas, Atari ST, Commodores, Spectrums, those kind of machines, just because of the loading times.
Absolutely.
It just saves a lot of hassle, and it allows people to experience more games than they could do.
I mean, we love the retro feel, but the loading time wasn't necessarily the most fun part of playing those old games, although I did like the old sort of ocean loading screens and the soundtracks you get for those sorts of games. So do you anything in particular beyond just demonstrating them? Do you have any competitions that you run?
Well, what's behind us is the Classic Gaming Championships, and that's actually the UK's first ever national tournament to find the best retro gamer.
Wow.
We've taken this all over the UK. We've had heats in Cardiff, Glasgow, Manchester, Blackpool, Birmingham, 2 in London, 1 in Margate, and we've got 1 final heat coming up in a couple of weeks' time at Play Expo in Manchester.
Wow.
And then the 10 heat winners will all face off on the stage at Play Expo, and we'll crown the UK's first ever Classic Gaming Champion.
Have you found the standard to be very high, in your opinion?
We usually find that there's at least 1 or 2 extremely good players at every heat, and so there's usually a good battle for the top spot, and this weekend has been no different. We've had a really good battle with two players switching places on the leaderboard over the last few days.
Wow, well, you know what? It's like you read in the news. I mean, there was a new Donkey Kong champion crowned recently.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is, people are still playing today these retro games, absolute classic titles, and there's still a real point of pride, isn't there, about being, it's not just about mastering the latest, greatest games, it's about mastering the absolute classics that we all love as kids.
Absolutely, there's an incredible amount of devotion to these games to put the hours in to find the way to sneak out the last few points, and we've had Sami Chetin, who is the Super Mario Kart world champion.
Wow.
He's been on our stand today, and he's been taking on players and showing off his skills, trying to break his own world records. And it's great to see them, but he's so professional about how he plays that game.
Yeah.
He's as much of an esports athlete as the FIFA and Call of Duty players. He's methodical, and he works so hard to beat those times.
It's incredible the dedication that these people put into the games. I mean, I loved playing Super Mario as a kid, and I have to admit, as an 8-year-old, I got very upset and I couldn't complete the Rainbow Road or the Special Cup, and I'd throw the game across the room. I hope those guys don't have any sort of rage quit moments when using your lovely old systems here.
We do have the odd ones that we have 4-player lounges that are everybody sits next to each other playing on a single screen game, and that's an experience you don't get anymore. You don't have people sat at home nudging each other to try and put them off when they're going around the corners.
Yes.
So sometimes we do have a little tantrum when somebody gets
a
rocket up the backside or something. But on the whole, no, people treat the machines with respect. They know they're old kit, they know they need looking after, so people do respect it.
Well, something very sacred, isn't there? We've got he's got lovely old machines. They're still here. They're still being used and greatly loved by these players. Speaking of your challenge, that's wonderful because it ties in with our retro video game challenge that we do on our program every week. So I would like to challenge you personally, Gordon, to take on Street Fighter 2 with an arcade stick.
Okay.
And no pressure, but it's going to be on television. Your challenge. So we'll plug in the game, we'll get it going, and see how you do.
Okay, I'll give it another shot.
Studio Guest Communal Retro Video Game Challenge.
Okay, Gordon, well, here we are for the Retro Video Game Challenge. Now, you being the owner and proprietor of Replay Events, you ought to be very, very good at this challenge, I have to say. Not feeling so confident. Okay. Well, we are open to all challenges from all types of gamers of all colours and creeds. So choose the champion mode, game start, you choose a random, choose your favourite character, you're given a random opponent, and it's one match, see what your high score is. Chun-Li! We've had someone else pick Chun-Li so far, actually. That's an interesting choice there. Maybe there's something about Chun-Li I'm not aware of when it comes to Street Fighter. And we're against Ken. Ooh. See if Chun-Li can get away from the Dragon Punch. So here we go. It's a nice start. We've got a few punches and kicks coming through here. Oh, and a big slam, and Ken is already on the floor, but he's brought in the Dragon Punch, and that has evened things up quite nicely. Chun-Li's come back in, it's getting Ken on the ropes. Ken is far in the corner, that Chun-Li finish him off, and yes, Chun-Li. Wow. First blood.
Wow. Surprised myself.
You shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised. That's not a bad first round score. That could add up to our highest ever score. Let's have a look, shall we? Okay. Now we're looking at a perfect so far. No pressure. No pressure. Oh! Hadouken straight in the stomach of Chun-Li and back. And is that going to cause a daze? Yes, it is going to cause a daze. Is Ken going to take advantage of this? But no! Oh, it's a kick fest here, and Ken is out of it. Ken is out. Chun-Li has prevailed, and you were being modest.
That wasn't modesty, that was just luck.
Well, whatever it was, let's have a look at the final score. 43,600. 48,600, or 43. Was it 43 or 46? Well, whatever it was, it is the highest score so far. That is a brand new high score on our leaderboard. Congratulations! Yes, power on. Yes, fantastic. There you are, a brand new leader for our show, and wow.
So, Gordon Sinclair straight at the top of the leaderboard again.
Straight to the top of the leaderboard. This is an emerging pattern, I think.
It does seem to be, with the exception of Paul Zenon, who in fairness had never played a video game before. Everyone else is going straight up to the top of the leaderboard every single time.
Yes, I'm starting to think we maybe didn't pick the right difficulty setting, because, you know, when we first tried the game, you know, when I acquired it and the stick and everything, I thought, well, this is quite hard, this difficulty. Let's stick with that. But we are getting a new bar set every week that we challenge
Yes,
people.
no one's spending more than a week at the top of the leaderboard. So that's Gordon Sinclair taking over the Axis of Awesome's brief lead there.
Although one should expect him to be high up on the leaderboard, considering he runs a retro gaming company, quite frankly. I'm sure he's played Street Fighter before, despite his modesty. But, you know, that was one of my favourite aspects of EGX, was the fact that you had all these wonderful new games on show, but you had this huge section dedicated to anything retro, console, arcade. They even had incredibly obscure things like old-fashioned virtual reality headsets, you know, not quite the Oculus Rift, but all fun nonetheless. So I have to say, it was great fun.
Here at Board Gamers, we love the retro as much as the new stuff. It's nostalgic, it brings back memories. It's stunning like that.
It certainly does.
But we're not finished with EGX. We have a lot more coming up in future episodes from EGX. So here's what we've coming up next week.
I've adhered to a lot of the laws that come with particle physics. There's gluons, there's muons, there's bosons and leptons. The main mechanic comes from the quarks.
Higgs boson.
The Higgs boson, don't have any spoilers, but he's in there too.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tell us in a nutshell, what's the Living Dungeon all about?
Killing people, really.
Fair enough. No nuance then, just killing people.
Sounds like a silly question, but by playing the game, are you going to get a better idea of how fire behaves? You know, as a fire safety man, you know, is it going to help you out at all if there's a real fire?
Maybe, I guess, because the message is don't get too close to it.
Well, that's it for another week. For the gaming gods ensured us a potently positive plethora
Boy, behave yourself. That's enough of the annoying alliteration for one show, Jim.
OK, fair enough. But seriously, we've had a tremendous week and seen such a variety of exciting-looking games, Greg.
Yes, indeed, the immediate future is looking bright. But don't take our word for it. Tell us what games you're looking forward to and join the conversation via our website, Facebook and Twitter.
You can also send us messages direct to info@boardgamersuk.com.
Next week and for the rest of October, we'll be on air at the slightly later time at 9:30 every Friday night. So don't miss us then.
But until then, game on!
Game on!